Hey guys, so I wanted to make this video for those out there that are currently, speaking to someone, talking to someone, um, dating someone, whatever you want to call it, right? And you're just wondering, how do I know if this person is the one for me, right? Um, Before then, I want to kind of also address um, those that are possibly trying to get to know someone, right? um when you're first getting to know someone, um you know I would say above everything, right, it's to first know who you are. I think that's rule number one. A lot of us, where we end up getting hurt, right? It's hard for us to move on. We think, or we thought, that we love this person, right? We thought that it was real love and this, and it's hard for us to move on, right? It's hard for us to, get over this person. But, one of the ways you can kind of get over a person is to sort of, you know, put things into perspective, right? And this is why I say, it's very important to know yourself, know your own worth. Is because, when you know who you are, you know what you deserve, right? You know your standard, right? You're not looking to settle. You're not looking for anything. Like, once you see what you like, or once you see what aligns with your values, your principles, whatever aligns with your standard, this is the one, right? And so, but if you don't know your own worth, right, like you don't know who you are, then you're opening the door for just anyone, right? You're just opening the door for anyone to come into your life. Anyone that gives you attention, anyone that gives you time, you're gonna give that person your time, right? And so, you haven't really narrowed down, right? Like, you haven't really focused on what is it that you really truly need, right? Because you haven't taken the time to really reflect. You haven't taken the time to get to know yourself and know who you are as a person, right? And so, I would say it's very important, for those that are looking to get to know someone, let's say for the sake of marriage, know who you are, right? Like, a lot of us, we come from good families, right? A lot of us, there's a lot of women out there, they come from good families, very respectful families, families that, grow up with values and respect and honor, right? And so that is who you should also emulate, right? You should emulate what your family and your parents raised you on, right? The values, like that, the values that you grew up on should always be the values that you hold dear to your heart, right? And that should also play out in let's say you getting to know someone, right? And I know there's people out there that they grew up in bad families, let's say, where single parent homes, there wasn't any values or nothing to really yeah, you don't have that example, right? And so for those it might be a little harder, but even then, there's always room to find your value, right? Find your identity, find your worth, right? And me being a very spiritual, God fearing, I try to fear God, and just me being a spiritual person, I would always tell anyone, the best way to know your self-worth or know your own values or just know your own identity is to know God, right? Like, once you know God, in turn you will know yourself, right? God, he said, if in summary, basically, if you forget God, you'll forget yourself, right? Because you don't know your purpose on this earth. You don't know why you're here. You don't know, what part you play in the world. And so it's like, it's very important, to know your own worth. And I personally believe the best way to know your worth is to know God, right? But yeah, man, there's a lot of people out there, that they're probably in the midst of getting to know someone right now. They're talking to someone, they don't know if this person, is the right one. They're in doubts. They tolerate things that they shouldn't tolerate, right? But yeah, man, it's just, I would say, it's very important to know your own worth. Get to know yourself. Spend time with your own self, right? And then once you know yourself, like, as soon as somebody sees you, they would come correct, right? Like, they would come correct because they know, like, wow, this person, they're not just, they're not someone to just play around with. Like, they're carrying themselves in a way that is respectful, right? And a lot of guys, that's how they, because there are girls out there, they're like, these guys are just wasting my time, right? And it's like, a lot of guys, like, they know when they see a woman, they know what type of woman you are, right? And so, and that should also be how women are too, right? When you see a guy, before you even talk to him, see how he's carrying himself, right? Like, see how he respects himself. Like, is he a person that, he doesn't respect himself? Is he a person that, he's sagging his pants? He has braided hair. He doesn't take care of his hair. Like, is he a person that's just moving, like he's careless, like he doesn't know himself, right? Those type of guys you want to avoid, right? You want to see a person's character, right? You want to see his appearance, how he dresses, how he speaks, right? How he carries himself. And so that is the best indication, right? One of the indications to know, whether you should go ahead with, or whether you should take a step towards getting to know someone, right? Like, see their character, see their how they value and respect themselves. Because if they don't respect themselves, or they don't know their own self, how are they going to respect you, right? Like, they don't know what they want. They don't know who they are. They're just going through life. They think this is what is good for them, or there's also a lot of guys that they do know what they want, but they end up playing around with certain girls, right? Like, they'll see certain women, and then they'll waste their time, for the moments, and maybe until he gets his self together. And that's why you see a lot of guys out there that, they had a past. They might have been in the clubs, drinking alcohol, doing all sorts of sleeping around with women. And then it's like, as soon as that person changes, he ends up, finding something else, right? Because now he realized his own worth, right? And so, as a woman, you never want to fall victim to a man. You never want to fall victim to him not knowing his own worth, right? If he doesn't know his worth, he's not gonna take you correctly. He's not gonna take you the right way, right? And so you can peep these things. You can see these things and know. You can kind of get hints from a person's character. These sort of things. And yeah, just know your own worth, right? Like, that's number one, man. Like, a lot of women out there, they kind of, set their standard low, right? Because in their mind, they feel like they're low, right? In their mind, they feel like, I don't deserve this type of person. I need to, build someone up. I need to help someone that is low, or that is like beneath me, right? Like, so, because I feel like that is my standard, right? Like, I can't aim higher, so I have to go for like these type of guys, right? And so like, yeah, man, like, you have to, know your own worth, man. Know your own, like, know your worth, and through that, you'll start to, break down, or like you start to reduce, right? Like you have a lot of options, that's for sure. Like when you're a person with worth, and they know themselves, you're a person who's very God-fearing. You carry yourself with respect. A lot of guys would flock to you, right? And then you would know what guys aren't for you and what guys are, right? Like you would start to narrow down your options to eventually, you know, find the one for you, right? Yeah, man. So, I would really tell, the woman out there, to know your own worth, man. That's number one. You know, I mean, there's always, like I said, you can get to know God. That's the best way to know yourself, right? And then you could also like maybe sit down with, a teacher, or like someone who's wise, someone that, can sort of help you get to know yourself, right? Like sit down with someone that, you can speak to, and through that you can kind of get to know yourself a little more, right? But yeah, man, I feel like I'm kind of for this video, I don't think I have like a set thing I wanted to sort of focus on. But I kind of like I should have wrote down my what I wanted to address, like point by point. But I just kind of just went with the, like, my heart, man. I was like, just go with your heart, and whoever needs to hear is gonna hear it, right? And so yeah, man, know your worth, man. That's number one, man. And then see that person's, appearance, how they carry themselves, how they, how they carry themselves, like how do they respect themselves, right? Like how do they talk, how do they orient themselves in the world, right? Like that a man has to know himself. That's for him, for a woman to, to have a happy marriage, or to have just to be in a long-term healthy relationship with someone, a man has to know himself, right? Because then he's gonna always go through life, unhappy. He's gonna jump from marriage to marriage. He's gonna find problems with every little person, because he doesn't see the big picture, right? He doesn't know his own worth. He doesn't know what purpose he fulfills in life, right? Yeah, man. And I'll actually, like, you guys can also let me know if you guys want more, like more focused kind of videos. But yeah, I think, I have a few ideas, that I'll try to make separate videos on. But just let me know if you guys would be interested in more focused, like more topic focused videos, right? So yeah, I think I'll just end there for now. I kind of rambled. I apologize about that. Just felt like I needed to kind of get that out there. So yeah, take care, guys.